All right, so let's take a look at the SQL injection. That's here. So as always, let me clear the other tabs, open the instructions, and then open the lab, and then read about it. Okay, the product category filter contains a SQL injection vulnerability. And SQL injection is just like the command injection we did before, where you can inject that, you could inject a Linux terminal command, a bash, a shell command. Here you can inject, but you're injecting in this language called SQL. That's the only hard part. This structured query language is unfamiliar to a lot of students. So here's the query. Select star from products where category is gifts and released equals 1, that sort of thing. So we're going to, what you want to do is change this to show all the products, including products that are not released. This is a fairly common situation where you have the ability to access some data from a database, like your own email address, and you want to trick the system into showing you other people's email addresses. So it's in the product category filter. So if we look here, oh, here's the categories, accessories, clothing. So when I click this, it'll do some kind of filtering. So this looks like the request that I want to work with. So as usual, I'm going to clean all the other stuff out. I go to the proxy history and I clear the old stuff. Right click, delete clear history. Yes. Okay, now I go back in here and I do accessories. Okay, so now I see a limited set of products, and here's the request that did that. Filter category equals accessories. Here's the request, and you see, okay, here's category equals accessories. So I'm not going to read the instructions. I'm going to try doing it by using a standard attack. If I go to repeater here, and so if the typical way you hack into things is you do, this is a text field. So the simplest thing is put an apostrophe here and see what that does. Let's see what the response says. Yeah, now it's 500 internal server error. That's what I expected. We broke the syntax of the SQL command and it caused an error. That strongly suggests that there is SQL injection. So now I can put in like plus or plus 1 equals 1. And then dash dash is often a comment. What I'm trying to do is make a, where it says the phrase where type equals accessories, I want to close the apostrophe around accessories and then put or 1 equals 1. So the combined condition is always true, and then put in a comment field to prevent the rest of it from causing an error. If I've guessed correctly how to format this, then that will be a valid request that'll lead to, yep, it's 200 okay. And it tells me here I won. So that will show all the data of all the different products, including ones that are not released. And the only thing is you have to learn how to structure this attack to match it. Another way, by the way, if you can't figure out which comment symbol ends the phrase, which I often have that problem, you can use a second clause here that eats up an apostrophe, and that would be A equals A there. And now, let me just, to make this clear, I'm going to bring up a text editor here. The point is, we've got a select statement like this. This is what the developer wrote. And all right, there. This is the data the developer wrote, but I have control of this thing inside this gifts. I can change that. So what I do is in here, I put in apostrophe or 1 equals 1 dash dash. That was the first one I did. And that means category is empty or 1 equals 1 and ignore the rest of the line. That's one way to do it, where you need a comment symbol to cause it to ignore the extra apostrophe. The other way to do it is to put in text here, A equals A. This is what I put in for a name with an extra apostrophe here and one missing there. And when it's added to this statement, it again creates a valid command. Now, the problem in this case is if I did it that way, I would not find the unreleased titles because now it still has the and released equals 1. So in this case, this one is the powerful attack that does what I need. And this one will cause it to release more information than the developer intended, but not the particular information I'm looking for. Anyway, that's one of the simple SQL injections, and there's a whole series more of these. The next one's probably worth checking out too, the login bypass. This is a famous one. If you can do that to the username or password in the login form, then you don't need to have a valid name and password to get in. So here we've got a, well, it's still loading the lab. Let's read about this in the login function. To solve it, log in as the administrator user. And typically all you have to do is put in the or 1 equals 1. Yeah, make the username parameter administrator apostrophe dash dash, because the SQL command underlying this is something like this: select star from users where username equals uname and password equals whatever the right password is. It's going to look like that. But if I put in a comment in the username, if I set this to be administrator, okay. And by the way, they typically use single quotes here, so I'll change those to make this more clear. There, if I do this, and this is a comment signal, then it will authenticate me as the administrator and not bother to check the password because it's commented out that part of it. That's why it can be very cute. So we should be able to do that right here. I go to here to log in, and now I just put in administrator apostrophe dash dash and anything here, and I'm in. Because they had that vulnerability, I can trick it into not even checking the password, and I don't even need burp for that, although you can do it in burp. So these are some of the many things you can do with SQL injection, and there's a lot more coming. One thing that is irritating and confusing for students in pen testing classes is that there are 3 different types of databases: Oracle, Microsoft, and Linux, MySQL, now called MariaDB, and their syntax of each is considerably different, and the commands are different. So you have to learn all 3 of them and try the different attacks, or you have to learn how to fingerprint the server first. But they're all the same basic principle, but the exact layout of the commands and the comment symbols and such vary. So it can be sort of frustrating when you're an early student understanding the differences. And they give you good challenges here to try all those different variations. So I'm going to stop this recording.